Jack Eichel had successful lower body surgery, and now he's on the injured list out week to week. The latest player to be on the shelf for VGK. We'll talk about it next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen, your team every day. Make sure to subscribe to the Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit by using the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. So, Jack Eichel, the latest VGK injury casualty. He was injured in the Boston Bruins game at T-Mobile Arena. It was on the Matt Grzelcyk hit or wannabe hit, and he avoids that hit and gets his left leg caught. And he was helped off of the ice at the time. Of course, we heard and saw, and everyone was saying it was just the blade on his skate, but he was hobbling off of the ice down the tunnel, returns later in that game. And then after the game, he's telling the media, yes, I'm fine. Everything's fine. But now you got to wonder what effect the loss of Eichel long-term will have on the team on both ends of the ice.
So going back to the hit itself, there's 4 potential spots where Eichel could have sustained injury. The first spot was when Grzelcyk was actually making contact with his leg. Jack's leg was behind him as the check occurred. And then you see Eichel's leg buckle right before he falls. It almost looked like a non-contact scenario. Obviously, in the NFL, that's a very scary thing to bring up. Eichel goes down. You see him try and get up, but he's in a very awkward motion where his legs are under his body and he's twisted backwards. Finally, Jack is able to get to his feet, and then he pushes off, and then that's when he realizes he doesn't have the blade. It's a very unnatural feeling. Only thing I can compare that to is when you take a step and you expect there to be a stair there, or you forget that there's a stair there and it just kind of jerks your whole body. That's a very small perspective of what Jack possibly felt as this whole thing was happening. So what's very strange is, yes, he goes from being directly asked how he is, he says he's fine, to the next day gets some evaluation, to he's going to miss a little bit of time, to surgery and that dreaded week-to-week designation, which could mean at the earliest 30 days from now, and I'm guessing, I don't have any direct knowledge. The more likely scenario, I would possibly put it into March, if not April. So going through that whirlwind, it's a pretty crazy scenario for this team right now. And yeah, we'll hit it a little more in the second segment, but man, McCrimmon's got some work to do right now.
Could this be season ending? I think that's the biggest question.
It's fair. The only comparison that I have to go off of is the team was very quick to, I'm trying to think of the wording that was used last year when Mark Stone sustained an injury that's like, I feel like I was the only one in the universe that read between the lines where they left the window open to possibly come back somewhere in the playoffs, because they didn't say season ending. They said out indefinitely is what the terminology was. Out indefinitely after a successful back surgery. If I'm wrong on this, someone can find it, but I definitely remember the word indefinite. I definitely remember indefinitely. That's probably not the best grammar, but indefinitely was used. And everyone said, oh, season's over. He's done. Never, not going to see him anymore. But then, like, we talked a lot about this now that I'm going back and jogging all these memories here. And then all of a sudden, Bruce Cassidy says right around the All-Star break that, well, we're going to see what happens. And, you know, there was this window. And I felt like it was all these things that the team was putting out there through the media on purpose just to leave the window open this much. And then, of course, you see the trades happen. And then Mark Stone comes back, and all of a sudden there's a Stanley Cup parade. So, man, there's a lot of different ways this might go, Tony.
Yeah, and for Stone, it's I think about a year to the date when he had sustained that back injury there.
5 days ago, because it was on my birthday, January 12th, against the Florida Panthers.
It's
the only
about
reason I
that
know
time.
that.
Concern of more scoring droughts for VGK. I mean, they couldn't score with him in the lineup. What's left now? Who picks up the slack? Do teams like the Rangers coming up next just key on Mark Stone and the now top line, and then they shut down the rest of the VGK offense? How's that going to work?
I'm more concerned about this coffee mug. I have to go righty today. I normally drink the coffee lefty, but I grabbed
I know what's going on.
It's got a bigger handle on it.
What in the world is that?
I don't know. It has more room for coffee inside of it, so it seemed like a winner to me at the time. So the question is scoring droughts and
where you got the mug.
Yes, where I got the mug. I have no idea where it came from. If I'm other teams, especially interdivision teams, and I know this isn't what Golden Knight fans want to hear, but this is when target Mark Stone season officially starts. If Mark Stone were to go down and look like he possibly did go down last week against the Bruins or week before, whenever it was now, it's the season is in a very, very shaky position right now, not knowing when these injuries are going to get better. Although just before he went on, you and I were talking, we saw that the Golden Knights did send Isaiah Seville and Ronbjerg back down to the Silver Knights. Now, Golden Knights don't play until Thursday tomorrow. Could be a paper transaction. Could be all sorts of weird things. Could mean Isaiah Seville's ready to come back. Could mean Aiden Hill possibly is coming back. With Ronbjerg going down, maybe Will Carrier is closer than we thought. I mean, I don't know. These are all the possibility. I mean, William Carl, who knows? I mean, the Golden Knights will have a practice today, Wednesday, so that'll definitely tell the tale of what potentially is happening. But there's 3 roster spots available on the Golden Knights right now. As far as scoring drought and stuff, someone not named Mark Stone, Chandler Stevenson, and Pavel Dorofeev need to start hitting the score sheet with regularity. You look at the other top-ish line, however you want to look at the line of Marchessault, Nick Watt, and Ivan Barbashev. I mean, Marchessault gets an empty net goal, fine, yippee, woohoo. Hopefully that maybe ignites him to just come to the rink a little bit calmer and stuff. Barbashev, would love to see him contributing more, but honestly, the bottom 6 or the defense, got to throw the defense in there a little bit. But the bottom 6, Brisson, Bryson, Brendan Brisson has been called up. I might have missed one. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
there's so many different ways to say that name. But point being is Brisson was brought up to potentially help the scoring droughts. And first game, he checked some boxes the first game. We'll see how he does. Assuming he's around for his next game, there could be changes in the lineup. Who knows? But then you still got the Paul Cotters, the Howies. I'm talking like the coach right now. You still got Howden. You still got Cotter. You still got Amadio. Kolesar would be nice to see if he could get one in the net every now and then. So that's where the biggest areas of opportunity lie with this team.
Yeah, and there's, I think, currently 5 starters out of the lineup for VGK. And so Aiden Hill, again, comes back and then gets knocked out of the game. And then they try to bring him back again after a lengthy stay, on IR. And now what is his status? And I think that's one of the biggest questions is what could the injury be that flared up again where he wasn't ready and we thought he'd be able to come back like in a day or two. And now that's turned into a week or so, over a week and a half or so.
This feels like a setback more than it feels not being at 100% at this point. The NHL does have rules about the IR and LTIR when a player gets healthy. Despite what 31 other franchises think about the Golden Knights, you're not allowed just to park a player on LTIR for reasons that can benefit the team involving the salary cap and roster positions. So Aiden Hill has to still have some type of injury in order to be on injured reserve. They can't just park him there. If I had to guess, something happened in his recovery and his prep for that game against Colorado. Who knows what it was, but it is a very mysterious situation that you go from coming back what 3 or 4 practices, medically cleared. I know the medical team has been under a lot of fire as of late, and I'm not one that's ever going to get on that train because I just don't think it's the medical team that where the problems are right now. But it does cast a bit of a shadow of doubt when someone gets medically cleared and yet they still can't even get themselves off the IR. Is this Aiden Hill and his agent being conservative, protecting, his long-term career or something like that, or doing what they feel is needed to protect the long-term career? Is the team just being cautious because Aiden Hill felt something strange that maybe triggered the memory of that game against the Ottawa Senators? We don't know. And this is what's concerning about the NHL. They just don't have to tell you because the NHL doesn't make the GMs and the coaches tell you anything.
Coming up next, what are VGK's trading chips if they decide to make a deal or two at this point? We'll talk about that next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Regardless of where the VGK is currently in the standings, we want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. It's the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. What players would you like to take this week to win 100 times money? And fans can also bet, or rather play, I should say, daily fantasy NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college football, and much more on Sleeper. And also, it's great that you could connect with other fans, and entries can be made in under a minute. So all you have to do is whether you pick some studs around the league. We talked about Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, who are on fire right now, who will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard us, VGK fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you could start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights, this Wednesday edition. We appreciate you tuning in wherever you are. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. On Fridays, don't forget it's WTF Friday. And Saturdays, it's the Chris and Chris show, the YouTube exclusive show there for you. So I wanted to ask you a question. So at what point do you feel that Kelly McCrimmon comes down from the ivory tower, the made man, and addresses the situation about what's going on with the VGK? Does he make an appearance sometime soon or no?
No. I mean, what in the interest of a competitive advantage, which is the way a lot of the thought processing of a lot of this is
cooking the books. Okay.
That might be the first time this year. Only took 17 days, Tony. It's not bad. But might be a new sticky note coming at some point. There's nothing for him to say. I mean, what is he going to possibly say where he's not going to leave more questions than answers? If you think about it, it's going to be very coy, very, injury, going to miss some time, hopefully back in the next month. I mean, there's nothing for him to say right now. And it's not, this is the McCrimmon thing. This is what any GM of any team that is in the running to potentially make the playoffs and expected to make a Stanley Cup run. I think that's important that, and including myself, who is very down on the team right now, we can't forget that this team was easily among the 2 or 3 Stanley Cup favorites for the first 35, 45, 60 days of the season. So I think that's important just to recognize that. But the only thing, there's nothing for McCrimmon to say. I mean, the last time I can even recall McCrimmon coming out and addressing anything that was in the rumor mill and all that nonsense was when, I think it was season 5, when Marc-Andre Fleury, they're going to trade and bring him back. And McCrimmon literally basically said, no, they're not going to bring Fleury back. So nothing for him to say. And honestly, if he did, there'd be more questions than answered if he did come down and address anything.
So, who are some of VGK's trading chips? Because chips are big here in Vegas, and the chips are down right now. The chips are down for VGK.
There's
So there's what, 8 or so, 9 players currently out, whatever. Why don't put Robin Leonard in those stinking lists, because he's just gone. Okay, first, does VGK have to sign a player or two, or do they just ride out all of these injuries and the injury bug?
I think the timing is the first thing to address. I mentioned this briefly on Vegas Hockey Now. Trade deadline March the 8th, March the 4th, whatever that Friday is.
March the 6th,
maybe? Monday, March 4th. It's here Monday, March 4th or Friday, March 8th. Friday, March 8th. So the point is that if Eichel, Carlson, Theodore, Aiden Hill, that's where the big money is tied up on this team as far as players on the injured list go. If those players are slated to come back either before or right after the trade deadline, that's going to tie McCrimmon's hands a little bit more to make something splashy happen, because obviously there's not going to be any salary cap space. And I don't think there's a world that exists where this team trades Alec Martinez. I know that's the first player everyone's going to go to. There's not a world that exists where they're going to trade Alec Martinez if they feel they're going to be able to make a run for a Stanley Cup. Alec Martinez would be a very highly important commodity, I guess you can call him.
He's got 1 year left.
He's got 1 year left, absolutely. He's got 1 year left. So if things go bad for the Golden Knights,
much is he? $5 million? Where's he at?
Yeah, he's 5. He's 5. Over 5.
Okay, he's over
Alec
5.
Martinez is 5.25. 5.25.
Okay, 5.25.
So point being is that Alec Martinez would be a hot commodity around the NHL. You're not going to trade someone like that to help another team, especially interconference, unless the season is out of reach. So if one of these players, these $5 million plus players, if they're in a season ending scenario, then sure, McCrimmon's already working the phones right now. And McCrimmon knows exactly what the timetable is on these players. And so does Bruce Cassidy. This is not some secret where the medical team, it's nothing what we're being told as fans and as media. I think everyone sees through that. So that said, if McCrimmon does make a move in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that tells you that one of these guys or multiple have suffered potential regular season ending injuries. But my God, if Jack Eichel just, did suffer a season ending injury, comes back game 1 of the playoffs, can you just, the numbers will go back up at least. The numbers will go back up.
What are you talking about? Playoffs? Really?
I will definitely talk about playoffs as long as
they are currently the Folden Knights again. The Folden Knights. They're folding.
Last time you said that they won the Stanley Cup. So,
I know. I did say that last year. So, of course, they're good luck charm, I guess. So, expiring contracts definitely trade bait. Can you sign someone in the interim, though, right now? And then, and whatever matter.
As of this
Max
second
Comtois
today,
still out there is what we're getting at.
He probably is, actually. That's pretty funny, actually. As of today, January the 17th, right now, the Golden Knights could spend $2.7 million on a new player to this team. Now,
as long as their name doesn't rhyme with Bjorn or Bjornfoot, we'll be okay. Don't make those additions. They're definitely trolling me, dude. There's no doubt.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So one thing really fast, the main part of the segment is who are the trading chips, right? And there's 2 ways to look at the trading chips. The first way is what are the trading chips to acquire talent for a run this season? And obviously draft picks, right? The Golden Knights actually have most of their draft picks for the next 3 seasons. They don't have a round 4 this year, but they have everything else. Next season, they have their top 6 picks. Following season, they have all 7 of their picks. So that's obviously where things are going to start. As far as other trading chips, I know no one wants to hear this, but how about Brendan Brisson? How about Luc Cormier? How about, I saw a couple other ones as well down at the AHL level. You got the prospects and Edstrom, Morozov, and players like that. Cataford. These are all players who could potentially, yield a nice return. We've seen, although you're seeing a lot more draft picks and prospects making their debuts with the Golden Knights as of late. But we definitely have the mentality of the Rams in the F those picks perspective, where McCrimmon is not afraid to make a splashy move involving a draft pick. And generally speaking, he's come out on the right side of that. If you go back and look at like what players like Cody Glass have become, and even Nick Suzuki for a brief moment, and other players and how they've spurred into these bigger deals. I mean, Alex Tuck becomes Jack Eichel, things like that. So McCrimmon's usually on the right side of those things. As far as the trading chips, if the season goes sideways and if this team has no shot at making the playoffs, now you're not looking at those draft picks. You're looking at Marchessault, Will Carrier, Chandler Stevenson, Alec Martinez. Those are the most expensive. Even Mike Amadio, for that matter.
Dorofeev is an RFA. Dorofeev RFA at the end of the season.
I think Dorofeev is even. I mean, Dorofeev is a big part of the future of this team, and I think McCrimmon understands that. So I don't think. Listen, there's no such thing as an untouchable on this team, maybe besides Eichel.
We're not
literally or players
together.
That have
the band is not going to stay together. Like, okay.
If the band doesn't stay together, if the band does not stay together, that's bad. If the band is on the field, that means they're making a run for a cup.
VGK needs a rental or two right now. They do.
I agree with that statement, but the only way that happens is if someone has suffered a season-ending injury. The Golden Knights are not going to get themselves in a spot where they make a trade today for a $3 to $5 million asset. How they get to that point, don't worry about it. Just let's assume they were to make a deal today for a $3 to $5 million assets. You don't want to overextend the credit cards, because if all these players do come back, they're going to be forced to trade away another $3 to $5 million asset. And sure, is this maybe where Alec Martinez becomes a victim of friendly fire if the Golden Knights feel that they're desperate right now? Okay, fine. I can see that.
I think
happening.
That could happen too.
But it just doesn't sit well with me to trade your best pure defenseman, maybe second best. Braden McNabb, I think, maybe has that role now based on his age and stuff like that. But Alec Martinez, if the team is going to make a run for a Stanley Cup, how do you not have Alec Martinez out there blocking shots? I just don't understand that. And Alec Martinez literally could be the missing piece for 8 other teams looking to win a Stanley Cup. If the Golden Knights do make the playoffs, do get knocked out before winning a Stanley Cup, and Alec Martinez is on the winning roster for the Stanley Cup team, then someone screwed up pretty bad.
You want to talk about irony? The player that we felt would be broken down by now, playing half of the games and such, is still standing. Mark Stone. Isn't that the craziest thing? No, it's so ironic that he's the player that I think we were most concerned about at the start of the season, and he's just at peak level right now.
When Mark Stone said the team has to have a no excuses mentality, he showed that. I don't know if I've ever seen a better game from Mark Stone than the game against the Nashville Predators. He looked fast. I've never been guilty of calling Mark Stone fast, and I don't think Mark Stone's going to call himself fast. But the effort he put into that game on Monday was possibly, I'm not even just talking the hat trick. I don't care about the goals. The effort that he put in to elevate his game, if that's possible, the effort that Mark Stone put in to elevate his game on Monday, he sent an example to the other 16, 17, 18 players that are out there right now, and to everyone in the Golden Knights organization, that he's not giving up on this moment. He is going to lead this team, and he's going to lead by example. And if the other players can find a way to, again, using the quotes that the team's putting out right now, be the best versions of themselves, or even become better versions of themselves, then they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They don't need to bank a ton of points. We'll hit that in a second, obviously. But they just need to do better than Jack Dawson in the Titanic at the end of the movie. They just got to stay afloat. Rose should have moved over and shared that thing at the end so they both could have lived. So as long as the Golden Knights can survive longer than Jack Dawson, they're going to be okay.
You just brought a tear to my eye. It's so sad. How many points does VGK need the last 6 games before the All-Star break? We'll dig into that next right here. So sad. Right after this on Locked On Golden Knights.
The boat sank. Get over it, dude.
Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much, much more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your ride or die, you will always find exactly what you need, what you are looking for, and with eBay Guaranteed Fit, every time or every time that you try something for your ride or die, if it doesn't fit, you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts that you need, the prices that you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back. Locked on Golden Knights, this Wednesday edition. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked on Golden Knights. And so before the break, we teased this, but we really do want to dig in and talk about how many points we will project and then how many points are actually needed, right, for the VGK before the break. So before the break, they're going to play 6 games, right? And I have VGK winning maybe 2 of the 6. I'm trying to be real about this, and I might have to post a 4 and a hook over the 6 games for total points. They really do need to try as hard as they can, even if they lose, to bank a point, right? They're going to have to try to scratch out points here because it is desperation time already for the VGK. So the upcoming schedule, the Rangers on Thursday, the Penguins are here on Saturday, then they hit the road and they play at the Devils and the Islanders, Islanders and Rangers back to back, and then the Red Wings. And that East Coast trip with a team that is reeling might not be too good. And I think VGK will try to play the lower scoring games now because that will give them the best chances. So defensively, the structure really does need to pay off, and they do need to play better defensively and cut down on the amount of goals that they give up here down the stretch before the All-Star break.
What would be really nice is if the Golden Knights split each of the next scenarios, so to speak. 2 home games, Rangers and Pittsburgh Penguins, get 2 points in those 2 games. Right. New Jersey and New York Islanders get 2 points in those 2 games.
Yeah.
Rangers and Red Wings on the road, both tough, both not easy games right there. Find 2 points. And then hopefully they sneak out 1 more point. So I really think 7 points would be, I don't care how it happens, but I really think 7 points would be a very nice number. I'm trying to think of a better way to say it, but just a nice number to give the team a little bit of, not comfort, but just to maybe relax the nerves a little bit as they get into the All-Star break and get some time off. And then boom, here comes Edmonton, first game back on Tuesday, February 6th, which that'll be fun. That'll be a fun game to see. So can't wait to see the Oilers next month. So the issue is, though, I mean, you got the Islanders after the Devils. Devils are playing better again right now. They're coming back to health. Islanders, obviously, the Golden Knights handled them, but they got them on the second part of the back-to-back. Red Wings, same thing. You got the Rangers the game before that. So this is a spot where I'm curious what goalies we see. If for some reason Seville is still in the picture, you're going to see Seville next week. If the Golden Knights were to run Logan Thompson out there for 6 of the next 6 games, oh my God, that would be possibly, I don't even want to.
And then how does Yuri Patera go from being just sore? So we just, didn't want to chance him being our backup. He's only sore. He's just a little sore. To now, it's like, it's as though he's injured and we probably will not see him again. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
I hate
the Golden Knights and their move with
injuries in this league. It's bogus and it's rigged. Okay.
The move to send Isaiah Seville down yesterday is noteworthy. That means Patera
Someone's
or
back.
Aiden Hill. Patera or Aiden Hill
Or
will be on the ice for
E-Bug are back.
practice.
Is
Yeah,
the
Darren
E-Bug?
Millard will be back there. Darren Millard will be back there doing the E-Bug in practice. We'll see about that. Yeah, I mean, it's so bizarre, and I don't know how Patera goes from, like you said, the coach literally made the comment, he's just a little banged up. They wanted to have the backup goalie in there that they could actually put in to do the job in the event he's called upon. I mean, they literally said it that way. And to be fair, you look at what's happening with Aiden Hill right now. The team understands that they need to be really careful. I'm still just I want more details about Aiden Hill. We're never going to get them, unfortunately, but I really want to know. I just got a hunch that it's coming from Aiden's camp and they're playing it ultra conservative, but I don't know. We're spitballing. It's 30 minutes into the show. That's what we do at this part of the show. So, well, we'll see. But back to the main point, Golden Knights got to find 7 points. Find 7 points some way, somehow. Get these games to overtime.
What do you think they're going to realistically,
whatever.
man? Be real. Be real. How many points you think they'll get on this next?
Realistically, I'll take. Realistically, if I'm going to handicap, I'd go 5 and a hook, and probably
a little high.
I'd probably want to push the betting to the over because I don't think it's going to go over. I'd probably give better action on the over than the under, honestly. So, 5 points is probably the number to be realistic. Now, who knows?
Yeah.
There's a chance they do have some juice against the Rangers and pull off a
split against
upsets.
the Rangers, and they're pretty good. They're in good shape, I think. If they could split,
if they could somehow bank 3 points in these next 2 games, that would be really good. That'd be really good.
I think Pittsburgh they'll beat. I think Rangers they'll lose to. I think they'll lose to the Rangers, fair. And probably. Oh, it's a preview of my picks. Okay, so tomorrow we will have the preview of the Rangers and VGK game, and that should be an interesting matchup. Another team that's hot. Of course, the Rangers are on top of their division, and VGK now 7 points behind Vancouver. So we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. And I'm sure, as Chris said to me yesterday after the show, I'm sure something's going to hit today. Then the Eichel news comes down. It's like every day, every single. And VGK right now, I think, is what they're trying to do is they're trying to break the record for most man games lost. Was it like 525? I think they're threatening that.
It's almost their own record upward from season 5. I mean, you mean their record or the league record?
No, their record was 525, I believe.
Which could be the league record all time. Who knows?
Probably.
Setting records in all sorts of ways. Let's go.
In the wrong ways. Of course, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in, especially our everydayers. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
We never talked about the dog.